In yesterday's video, we uploaded the matchup between OpTic Chicago and the Atlanta FaZe, and in that one, we talked about how good Chicago looked in that matchup, whereas previously, they just haven't looked great against the Atlanta FaZe. Now, before that, they also scrimmed the Dallas Empire, and that did not go so well. And we're going to watch the first match of that today. So as we hop on over here, we are on board with SCUMP as they're playing the map Crossroads. So in terms of the 4 hard points, they lost all 4 of them. And I will say again, where they're struggling right now is on these smaller maps when they're forced to play against some of these super fast SMGs like Shotzzy. And even though they played better the latter half of yesterday against the Atlanta FaZe, most of the time when they play super fast, really quick movement SMGs, I know it's weird to say that because basically at this level, everybody plays that way, but they just haven't been able to get over that hump when it comes to these smaller maps against the Dallas Empire, at least not yet. So in this one, just before we get into the actual breakdown of what's happening and the strategy and what each team's trying to do, I will say that on the bigger maps, like when they played Moscow, they basically choked away that win. Chicago had that map won, and they just had a rotation here, a kill there, and they ended up not going through with that. But they were super close. So overall, they just have to improve at these smaller maps. I think when it comes to the bigger maps like Moscow, when you have Dashy and when you have Formal locking down lanes and kind of holding map control, they're pretty good in that regards. So just getting better at these smaller maps, it'll come. It's still super early, but as of right now, nice 2-piece right there. And one thing that I will say, Shotzzy seems to be the one that always gets a ton of attention when it comes to Dallas overall. But right now, HUKE is playing absolutely unreal. I really wish that he would stream so that we could get an idea of what's happening from his point of view. But even in this game, SCUMP drops like 38, almost of 40 bomb, and HUKE had like, I want to say 1,000 more damage or 600 more damage. We can't see exactly what his kill death was because the scoreboard doesn't allow us to do that. But in terms of the score overall and the damage overall, HUKE has been playing out of his mind. He's actually been the person that's been leading Dallas more often than not. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's get into the breakdown here. So overall, to start this first set of rotation, this has been played fairly well out of Chicago. They got the bad spawns. So they spawned on the left-hand side of the map. And then when it went to P1, they were okay there. As it went towards P2, they were able to flip spawns and have spawns for P2. And then now as it's rotating over towards P3, they're inside the P3 hardpoint. They're getting a lot of time inside here. And they just were able to push out with Formal and Dashy, push out that back spawn. And now you can see SCUMP turning around, watching the push through P1. So this first set of rotations has been, I don't want to say perfect because they're only up 40, but they got bad spawn to start the map. They did a decent job on P1. They flipped for P2. You've seen SCUMP inside this hill for the last 30, 40 seconds. So far, so good. But as we move forward into the next set of rotations, you'll start to see the tide change a little bit. And the other thing here, we are now inside of P4. Notice SCUMP is just watching the top-hand side of the map, and that's what you want to do. If you end up giving up the top side of the map, then that's going to spawn you over towards ice, and then you have to worry about those jump-ups where you no longer have the advantage in those gun battles, and it's a really tough gun battle to win once you give up those spawns. So I like the fact that they're continuing. They might be spawning somewhere mid-map, like watch where SCUMP spawns right here. Since they have control of that top-hand side of the map, SCUMP got this P3 spawn. So they're just doing a nice job of pushing that out. They're not getting a ton of time. It's not like they've been able to flip and take it over, but they have prevented Dallas from getting time, whereas if they just would have said, you know what, screw it, let's go ahead, let's push the bottom side of the map, they would have been stuck in those spawns, and then things wouldn't have gone their way. So far, so good. I mean, they've got by the end of this, it's going to be a 120 to 50 lead. That's about as good as you can play the first set of rotations against a team like Dallas. And if I'm an OpTic fan, if I'm a Chicago fan, then at this point, it shows you that they can hang, right? It's a smaller map. It's one of the quicker maps that we've seen in the last few years years in terms of the iterations of Call of Duty. And you would think with, you know, like SMGs like SCUMP, maybe these small maps would be a little bit too fast for them, but they just have to work on their consistency, right? That's the biggest thing. They showed the first set of rotations that they are fine as long as they rotate and they get those critical kills, they're fine. But in the second set of rotations, you can see the tide is starting to turn. They're really struggling with, they're not able to flip spawns, but not only are they failing at flipping spawns, they haven't even been able to get inside of P1 and really contest or get time. Scump finally got a kill on Shotzi, but it was traded out by HUKE, which then was traded out by Formal. So now maybe they just got the last 5 or 6 seconds, but they were up by like 80, and all of a sudden P1 is a hill that's normally pretty contested, right? If you can win 5, 10, 15 points inside of P1, that's great. And finally, as it's going over towards P2, that 80-point lead went down to 40. Now Dallas has control of P2. They're pushed out watching bridge right here. They can't get across over towards bottom ice. Finally, they were able to sneak across and get inside this top P2 building here. But as soon as they did, Envoy died. I mean, it's just, this is just... I will say that the first set of rotations, so let's just compare how things have gone so far. The first set of rotations for OpTic, they got maybe, let's just say, I don't know, 50% of the time that's inside those hills. Then 25% of that time was kind of split. So they did a decent job of being able to get inside those hills and build a lead, but they weren't dominant in the same way that Dallas is right here, right? It's already, so we're going to P3. They got all the time in P1. They got all the time in P2. They didn't let Chicago even cross the side of the map. You can see that Crim 6 was starting to push out that back spawn. So if they don't get those kills in the back, they're going to give up spawns, and they're giving up this time inside of P3. I mean, this is just, it's a tale of two halves. The first set of rotations was pretty good for them. The second set of rotations has been a disaster. But as we have a score of 169 to 123, let's go ahead, let's listen in and hear what Chicago is talking about. Obviously, this isn't the best way that they would want to perform here after getting a lead after the first set of rotations, but let's hear how they respond after losing a lead and trying to fight their way back.
One more right, straight. One guy's out here.
I can help you.
Dead, bro. I can't do anything. In hill.
Let's
go out here.
Tyler dead. Close hill.
Trophy outer.
Close back door. Shotzi.
Yo, one guy's deep
close back spawner. Crim deep outer. Front. Illy's front.
He's hurt, dude.
Shotzi dead. Okay. Window.
I'm going outer again.
Yeah, I'll go outer with you.
I'm working.
I don't think one's there, Brandon. One's there. Back right.
He's not peeking it.
He's not challenging though.
Too.
He's on the barrels.
He's their mid block. Watch
on the box.
Yeah, mid deep got me, Crim.
Back right still. On you dead.
Nice. One more back.
Illy, watch belly front.
Back, push me in the back. He's weak back right. Ian.
Back. Ian's one shot back there.
Responding top cat.
That's a great setup right there out of Dallas. They're just doing, they did a fantastic job of holding that. Let's bring up our mini map for the first time today, just so we can go through and just show exactly what happened there. So Dallas is inside of P4. They had one player here. They know that they were trying, that OpTic was trying to push out the top side of the map. So very simply, they had one person on this head glitch. They had one person on this head glitch. They had Crim 6 in the back, and all they did was just watch the push from top P3, watch the push through this front door from P3, and watch the push from this storage room. And in this regard, you know that OpTic is going to be pushing out the top. So if they're spawning over here, as they were, if they come across the top, they're going to run into that heady right there. If they come through P3, they're going to run into this heady, and if they try to go all the way around, they're going to run into that heady. I mean, this is just, it was spot on, right? They had one person in each spot, and they just did a great job of holding down that push. And that's essentially what we've seen throughout the entirety of this second set of rotations. Let's go ahead. Let's listen back in.
Two back to base.
Yep.
Nice.
Mirror Seth. Spawner dead.
Nice too. We just got to try to hold, bros.
Back right.
Fine.
That's on all dead.
Back right dead.
Yep. I'm going to back up to
They're still spawning there.
Yo, they're top fence. He's pushing through. He's low AC&D. And
looking at it.
Two of them. Too low.
They're both pushing the left.
Too low left. Yeah, it's Illy and
Stay downhill.
Watch my outer if you can.
Fuck. One guy's already MP2. MP2 one shot. MP2 one shot.
Kyler's weak.
Bottom mid in their side.
I got Kyler.
We flip, guys. We flip.
Watch
Watch out.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Hill, Hill's on your guys' side, Hill. Hill's on your side, guys' hill. Shotzi peeking inner hill, one top cat.
Scrim.
Grim,
Looking cat,
back
yeah.
to you, back to you, back to you.
Trophy time.
He's coming right there, he's coming right
I
there.
think cat. He's
Harold's
on time.
one shot, Kyler.
I have a pinch on
Backside
hill.
hill.
On time.
Tyler dead,
Nice, good shit.
We flipped. We
Oh,
flipped.
ASND, Illy.
We gotta
He
kill
pushed
that
through.
guy.
He's bottom middle, he's bottom middle.
Middle. One's middle on me. I'm
Yeah,
one
two
shot.
there.
I'm picking up left, I'm trying to pick up left.
Hydra cross.
I'm getting naded. I'm dead.
And at this point, there's only a few seconds left in the game. But even towards the end of that P4, Dallas did a really nice job of, as soon as it got within like 10 seconds or so, they pushed down towards the bottom of the map. They were able to get behind P2. They were able to push it out, and they were able to flip there. So really, first set of rotations was pretty good for OpTic, but after that, second set of rotations was a disaster. And as it entered the third set of rotations, they gave up spawns for P2. So if you're an OpTic fan, it's encouraging because they had a little bit of success against them, whereas they haven't really shown that yet. But overall, there's still a long way to go, right? I've left this screen up just to show that SCUMP actually played pretty well. SCUMP went 38 and 25 with 21 objective kills, but I wish that we could see the kills, because you can see right here that SCUMP did 4,300 damage and had 38 kills. HUKE did 5,300 damage, so he's got to be in the 40, 45, 47 kill range, somewhere in there. And the man has just been going crazy. I wish that we could see from his point of view, because he's been playing great so far this year. So with that, guys, if you're new around here, you enjoy this sort of breakdown, make sure you go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I upload a brand new video every single day detailing what's happening in scrims in the Call of Duty League. Don't forget to leave a like, as it helps out the channel. And with that, guys, thank you so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.